So my name is Sarita, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much for joining us and participating in our pre-event webinar for the AgriNext Conference and Expo. Alongside me is Mr. Farid. We will be hosting today's webinar on the topic biotechnology and genomic innovations in crop management and improvement. Your presence again is very valuable, and we are excited to share the insights and engage in a meaningful discussion as we prepare for the main event, right? So before starting with the question round, let me just introduce our esteemed panelists to you. We have first of all Mr. Jordan, the founder of Hidden Valley, and at Hidden Valley Genetics and Hidden Valley Ham. His expertise in plant genetics and passion for breeding drive is the success of the company. As a CEO and founder of HVG, their commitment to quality and innovation has positioned them as leaders in this industry. They have built a reputation of excellence in genetic selection and advancing agriculture practices through relentless knowledge and pursuit of cutting-edge techniques. Right, so that's Mr. Jordan for us. Second up, we have Mr. Raman Singh Saluja, the founder and CEO of Gramco. With 20 years in this sector, Raman has built a network of farmers, fulfillment centers serving over 20,000 farmers and advanced infrastructure and market access to the farmers and agriculture landscape, improving everything in this sector. Now, next up, we have Mr. Andrija. He's a biotechnician in training at 𝐻𝐸 Genetics, currently a dedicated medical student. And he's also focused on completing his medical degree to contribute significantly in the 𝐻𝐸 Genetic mission, right? And the goal is to leverage his education to help expand 𝐻𝐸 Genetics, impact internationally, and fostering innovation and progress in healthcare. Lastly, but not the least, we have Mr. Ingmar. He's the founder of Greentech Innovators, and Mr. Ingmar is dedicated to creating circular solutions for food waste, reducing greenhouse gas emission, and enhancing global food production. With over 30 years of experience in this aquaculture industry, Ingmar has expertise in protein recovery, biotechnology, process technology, and transforming food waste into valuable resources. So yeah, that's it about the panelists. We are very happy to have you. From here on, I would like to pass it on to Mr. Farid to take it forward from here. Over to you.
So thank you so much, Sarita, for introducing our panelists. So I guess Mr. Jordan is having some network issues. So we'll ask him the question that is directed to him at a later stage. So I'll start with Mr. Raman. A topic of our today's webinar is biotechnology and genomic innovations in crop improvement, right? So Mr. Raman, my first question would be to you as what are the major challenges what are the major challenges currently facing crop improvement and farmer security, and how do these challenges affect the adoption of agricultural technologies across different regions?
Hi everyone. See, that's a very wide question, so to speak, because when you speak of challenges in crop improvement, when you're looking at the entire crop cycle, so to speak, the entire journey of farming. It starts right from farm preparation, soil, seeds, planting material, because that's what goes in initially, and that's where biotechnology, gene improvement, all that comes into play, which is extremely critical for improving yields. So that is certainly there. But moving forward, when we talk of technology, there's a lot of interventions happening in terms of platforms, soil analytics, weather. So it's each and every segment is both an opportunity and a challenge for the farming community, so to speak, right till the point the farmer ends up selling the produce. So I think there are challenges and opportunities across the entire chain, so to speak. But if you really ask me, from whatever I've learned with my interactions from the farming community, the problems that are perceived by the modern technology solutions are not really addressing a lot of the real problems. You have e-commerce and platforms, information gateways. By and large, I think farmers have access to all of that. And those really are very minimalistic in terms of value adds for the farming. I mean, telling him what to do, what not to do. A lot of larger companies, they have very strong field and farm extension staff on ground, doing awareness programs, doing demonstrations. Farmers are very aware on that side. Research is certainly required. There's a lot of talk of zero-till, less fertilizers. So I think those are all different. But the biggest challenge, I think, is, in my view, are moving up the value chain for the farmer. That means how to get better value for his crop. Yields are something which you can have the best farming practices, best inputs, best seeds, etc. But if the weather isn't favorable, everything goes to zero. So I think crop insurance is something which is extremely sensitive, and I think very critical, because that leads to a lot of other problems for the farming community, including the debt trap, etc. But I think it's primarily crop failures and crop insurance. So that's where I personally think is the largest risk, and with climate change and all these things kicking in, that's a major area. What needs to be done is targeted interventions. So we have variable rate applications, variable rate fertilizers. So I think we have to move towards that, where efficiency is concerned, right from fertilizer to pesticide to crop protection application, where we can have more targeted applications. Crop insurance is one, then again, value addition. So I think all these segments broken up, it's very difficult to answer it in one holistic manner, because these are all specialized areas. So right from the input material improvement to, applications, weather, then again, market linkages. And I think the biggest problem is with the governments, by and large, globally, right? Because they're using agriculture and farmers as a monetary tool of controlling inflation. That means, you have gold going up to 70, 80,000, that's not a problem. You have potatoes touching 20 rupees, that's a problem. You have a stock market which is booming, that's great for the economy. You have farm markets booming, that's bad for inflation, bad for the consumer. So unfortunately, farming, I wouldn't really go farming, but the farming as such, or agriculture, has been given a very unpreferred, so to say, attention by both the governments and policymakers globally, because they look at it as a way to control inflation. That's where I think it hurts farmers the most. They really don't get the opportunity to make money when it's there, and the media starts shouting middlemen, where really it's all noise of the illiterates, so to speak. So I think there are interventions that are required at multiple levels.
Right. So thank you so much, Mr. Raman, for answering my question and for those insightful points that you have put forward. So anyone would like to ask Mr. Raman any questions, or would like to add to what Mr. Raman has said? Mr. Jordan, Mr. Ingmar, or Mr. Andrija?
I have one question for Mr. Raman, if you'd allow.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, Mr. Raman, you said that the biggest problem farmers are currently facing is moving up the value chain for the farmers. How would you address this problem? Like, what would be one of the main solutions in order to move up the value chain for the farmers?
Yeah, certainly. See, in our own company, I'll give you a little background about what we do. We have 7 facilities where we are offering almost all services to the farmers under one roof. And these facilities are located close to the farming areas, where we offer warehousing. We have fully automatic cleaning, grading plants. We are, from this season, starting off with contract farming, so where we'll be able to engage farmers with contract farming of the right variety of seeds, or the variety of wheat and chickpea that we need ourselves, which we'll procure from the farmers, clean it, grade it, pack it in consumer packaging, which is worthy of going straight to the retail and wholesale. So where we also increase our margins, and we make a farmer a partner in the benefit. That means whatever advantage that we get out of value addition in terms of crop improvement, certain portion of that also goes back to the farmers, because farmers don't have the facilities to really set up that sort of infrastructure. So we are looking at supporting the farming community and the farmers. And it's a very localized business, because wherever we operate is the same farmers who are there and who will be there with us for next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We won't have people coming from outside. So it's more of local community development, local economy development, so to speak, that we believe in. So we are looking at engaging ourselves, farmers, from a point of value addition, and enabling them to produce what we need, which can give them better yields, and also we can help add value and sell at a better price, so that we can pass on certain profits to the farming community. So that is what we are doing from our point of view. Now, coming to where farmers are there and how they can move up the value chain is to diversify the crops. There's a lot of focus on field crops by and large. So I think we need to have intercropping. We need to have maybe plantations, fruits. So it has to be a mix of value add. You can go for citric crops. You can go for fruits. You can go for other plantations. So farmers also need to diversify their income source to higher value produce. It may take 3-4 years to start producing, but that doesn't stop his economic activity from happening. In the sense of his normal farming can continue, at the same time the alternate crop can take shape. So I think that diversification is very important, and then using the right varieties, because a lot of farmers still use seeds which are inherently lying with them for 2, 3, 4 years. That results in lower crop yields, and they're also susceptible to diseases. So I think it's very important that farmers understand that what they're sowing in the field, while it's from their own crop, that also has a value. So what he has to pay is only an incremental difference in the seed price and what crop he's carrying. So that isn't really much, but if you look at the yield improvement and the gain that he gets is much more. So I think farmers have to start be more proactive also.
Thank you, Kylie, for your answer, Mr. Raman. And I would like to agree with you. You see, over here in Serbia, we have similar problems that farmers are basically farming the way they have been taught by the previous generations, or experimenting something new without the real knowledge. So I think what you're doing, sharing the knowledge about right crops to sow and how to do it properly, is essential for the community of farmers nowadays.
And
thank you.
And we do. I think I just add a little bit more here, because I do believe this is something which is imperative and has to happen, because all countries rely on crop and food imports from one country or the other. So let's say if you are in Middle East and you have a requirement of a particular crop which has been grown in A, B, or C country. So I think there needs to be strategic partnership in terms of backward linkages, so that the buyer is assured that there's a person or there's a company or there's an area where they're able to contract or procure what they need for their own requirements also. Unfortunately, when the prices go up, the buyers start running away. When the prices are low, then obviously they're insisting. So I think we need to have a more mature view on food security, and also look at developing the entire supply chains along both viability and food security point of view. So where interdependence is important, and the idea is it has to be collaborative and supportive. That means, so there has to be, this is something which has to be done both in the interest of farmers and the consumers.
Yes, stable market is crucial.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raman and Mr. Andrija. So, yes, I would like to move on to my next question, and it is directed to Mr. Jordan, right? So, Mr. Jordan, can you please explain how biotechnology and genomic innovations have fundamentally transformed crop improvement over the past decade? And what are some of the key breakthroughs that have shaped this?
Yeah, so my name's Jordan Herring, seed breeder from back in the United States, licensed by the federal government out there to do R&D on all different types of genetics and actually bring them to the public when it comes to the hemp and cannabis side of things. That's more of my field. Biotechnology, the transformation in my industry has been huge because of the stigma that's been put on cannabis for so many years due to all the prohibition and all of the propaganda on it. And now that we're able to actually use some of the more modern day technology to find out about these cannabinoids, what they're doing for people and how they're saving lives, and the medicinal side of things has been really incredible. And when it comes to the farming part of everything, for me, it all starts with genetics. That's my big thing. And I think that you guys were both just touching on that, because when it comes to genetics, if I give a farmer one genetic and it yields 50% of what the other genetic yields, whether that be in total weight or cannabinoid content or terpene content, it's huge, and it really dictates the survival of the farm. So I'm looking for three things: uniqueness, uniformity, and stability. And so offering those things to our farmers and the people in our network has been huge, especially coming from America, where we're so advanced, especially in California in that field, and then coming out here to Thailand, where it's pretty much ground zero. And like you were just saying, being able to train the farmers and let them know this is not just a seed, that some magical bean that's going to, produce you guys everything that you think your hopes and dreams are. But the genetics are where it starts, but then you also need to have the right environment and inputs, and you also have to have skilled labor. And education has been such a big thing out here. I have 20 Thai employees now, and they're all working together and learning, some of them coming from actual farming and agricultural backgrounds, but it's been such a big change for them. And I've seen some really cool, amazing things, bringing tissue culture out here, obviously keeping the disease resistance, the pest resistance, the mold resistance, and preserving the genetics is one of the things that's so important to me. So tissue culture obviously has been around for a long time, but in the cannabis industry, not that much. So it's been very cool to bring that out here, as well as the advanced breeding techniques, from stabilization all the way down to increasing cannabinoid contents, yields, terpenes, the flavonoids, having access to the modern science equipment that's available now, all of the different testing, and we're able to keep the cannabis clean, make sure that we're not having pesticides, heavy metals running through these things and winding up giving, the person who's thinking that they're getting medicine in the end, something that's actually harmful to their health. So I think that that's been a huge thing. And also we've just been starting to use this tool made by Valenveris. It's a Neospectra machine, which is really amazing. It's near infrared spectroscopy, analyzes the chemical compounds, so I can find out what's going on in the leaves. I can find out what's happening with the plant right there on site. I can also see what the future cannabinoid production levels will be. I can find out the sex of the plant ahead of time, and it really speeds up the process when you're trying to do a 1,000, 5,000, 12,000 seed pheno hunt and trying to find a very special genetic. So that's been huge. The new AI integration, we use a system called 𝐿ink, and it's basically a brain for everything. It can, in my greenhouses, it can know when it's a cloudy day and know to turn the lights up, or it can tell me, hey, it's time to dry back more, don't feed just yet. All of these things are right inside of the system. So the 𝐿ink's been very huge, and getting my clients, very easy to get the clients that are foreigners, but clients that are Thai, we're trying to bring them and help them get to a more modern technology so that the genetics that we sell them, they can be successful with. And just, I would say the biggest challenges that we've had to overcome are obviously in the past 10 years is the stigma on this. Israel they were the first ones to do research and development on the cannabis plant. That's where the THC molecule was found. So they're actually ahead of the curve when it comes to the medical side of things, and they really started it. And now that we're seeing other countries turning on, we're getting all of these scientists and doctors from around the world that are really finding out some incredible things about the plants, finding new cannabinoids every day. And that's been pretty incredible. So, just looking forward to the future and seeing what it has to hold, and being able to collaborate with people like yourselves and really broaden my horizons, because there's so many things to learn. Even from what I just got to hear from you guys, it was very incredible, the similarities between my what my farmers are growing and you guys with regular agriculture. So very, very cool, very excited to be part of this. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for answering that. Thank you so much. So yes, I would like to move on with my next question, and it is directed to Mr. Andrija. So Mr. Andrija, can you discuss some of the latest technological advancements in biotechnology and genomics that are driving progress in crop management, and how do these innovations address previous limitations in the field?
Yes, of course. But before we begin, I'll just have to correct you. It is Mr. Andrija. Or if it is too difficult, you can call me also. And I am flexible. Well, yes, as you said, my task for today will be to discuss some of the latest technological advancements in biotechnology and genomics that are driving progress in crop improvement, and how do these... we'll get to the discussion part. Now, to begin with, crop improvement, as Mr. Raman previously said, is needed now more than ever with challenges associated with feeding an ever-expanding population under increasingly variable growth conditions. Now, I'd like to begin with pangenomics, which involves studying the complete set of genes within a species, including core and dispensable genomes. This approach, of course, reveals extensive genetic variations such as structural variants, then presence-absence variations, which were previously overlooked. Now, this comprehensive genetic insight of pangenomics provides a more complete understanding of genetic diversity within a species by including both core and variable genes, thus leading to improved crop breeding by identifying genes of interest which are linked to desirable traits and therefore aiding in the development of favorable crop variety. Same could be said for its crucial role in disease resistance. It helps in identifying genes variations that contribute to disease resistance, which is crucial for both plants and animals. And of course, pangenomic also offers insights into evolutionary processes by comparing genomes across different populations. We can move on to one of the other technologies, which is multi-omics. This one is very interesting. It basically integrates various omics approaches, such as genomics, which is the study of an organism's complete set of DNA, including all of its genes, transcriptomics, and RNA, which will be produced by those genes and reflecting gene expression, and proteomics, the large-scale study of proteins, which that RNA will eventually be translated into their structures and functions. Then we have metabolomics, the study of chemical processes involving metabolites, providing insights into the metabolic state of a cell or organism. So all of this said, for instance, combining genomics with metabolomics, we can identify genes responsible for stress tolerance, leading to development of resilient crop varieties. And of course, this holistic view helps in understanding the complex interactions within plant systems. Now, let's proceed to genome editing. I believe we have all heard of CRISPR and Cas9 proteins and other genome editing tools amongst which have revolutionized crop improvement by allowing precise modification of plant genomes. Now, as we all know, CRISPR technology was adapted from a natural defense mechanism found in bacteria. It is considered out of two parts, Cas9 protein, which can cut through the DNA, and a guide RNA, which can recognize the sequence to be cutted. These tools can target specific genes, thus allowing us to modify existing genome, either delete it or replace it with a whole new gene. This basically, as I like to call it, makes CRISPR a cut and paste tool for DNA editing. Sounds incredible, but yes, of course. Next one on my list is next generation sequencing. It drastically reduces the cost and time required for sequencing plant genomes. Unlike traditional Sanger sequencing, which has been on the field for so long, which it sequences one DNA strand at a time, next-gen sequencing can sequence millions of fragments simultaneously, making it much faster and more cost-effective. This has enabled the rapid identification of genetic markers associated with important traits, facilitating marker-assisted selection and genomic selection in breeding programs. And last but not the least, actually my favorite, is genomic selection. Now, genomic selection uses genome-wide markers to predict the performance of breeding lines. This method accelerates the breeding process by selecting the best candidates within a population early in the breeding cycle, thus reducing the time and resources needed to develop new varieties. I like giving an example that we had in Norway of salmon farms and sea lice. Now, as you may know, Norway is a leading producer of salmon in the world. And this parasite, sea lice, costed Norway 5 billion Norwegian kroner. That is approximately 500 million euros. And this was all just in 2015. Now, genomic selection is a preventative and non-medical tool, which allowed us to analyze the complete genome of salmon and therefore not stick to one gene, because this property of fish to be resistant to sea lice sticking to it is consisted out of the many different genes. Well, resistance has been proven by complex trait controlled by large number of genes. And to make sure we include all of these individual contributors, we needed to study the entire genome. Well, with the genomic selection at its finest, we were able to compare the whole genome of many salmons database that we had with greater predispositions, allowing us to make a selection of fish that sea lice do not stick to. As a result, Norway didn't have to use as many pesticide. In this case, this is antiparasitic drugs that were making fish weaker and also polluting the seawater. Now, let's say, how do these innovations address previous limitations in the field? Well, they address several limitations in addition to crop improvement. For example, genome editing and next-gen sequencing contribute to precision and speed, providing precise and rapid tools for modifying and analyzing plant genomes, overcoming the slow and less accurate traditional breeding methods, as you're familiar by putting seeds into the alkalizing agents that will, and then looking which one has the properties by making a manual selection of the mutated plants. Now, multiomics and pangenomics offer a comprehensive understanding of plant biology, enabling the development of crops with complex traits like stress tolerance and nutritional quality. And of course, this all leads to cost effectiveness, because advances in sequencing technologies have made genomic studies more affordable, allowing for broader application in crop improvement programs. These advancements collectively enhance our ability to develop crops that are more productive, resilient, and sustainable, meeting the growing demands of a changing world. Now, I think we can open a discussion upon future expectations, and we can begin with what all of these methods have in common. All of them are based on DNA extraction. And whether we further observe and learn from it, or whether we decide to edit the genome itself, we previously, however, need to acquire high-quality DNA samples, which can be difficult at the times. Now, plant cell composition differs, their enzymes differ, genome size greatly differs amongst plants, and everyone who had worked with DNA extraction has faced numerous failures in a form of unreadable data, thinking maybe there could have been something I could have done differently. But let me tell you something, usually it's the problem is not the researcher, the problem is the DNA commercially available kits. No new buffer has been synthesized, and although stated that those companies acutely improved their kits, there hasn't been any significant improvement in results worth mentioning. Now, I also wanted to ask Mr. Jordan, but we moved on to my question. Mr. Jordan, what DNA extraction kits do you use in your industry, in your company? Or we can continue with, this discussion of new biotechnology and genomic methods.
Yeah. So when it comes to that, actually, it's I'm not using any DNA kit. Essentially, I for the most part, it was old school breeding techniques up until recently when we got the NeoSpectra machine. Now I'm able to see things ahead of time. But like I was stating before, I mean, I've done 12,000 seed pheno hunts, and you know that's pretty extensive, and that for me, moving on and being able to use this NeoSpectra machine I've only had it for a few months, but it's been able to save incredible amounts of time and money. Of course, as you know, the worst thing is to, you grow something and then you don't even know until it's 6 or 7 weeks in, and then you have to chop it down, and it was a waste anyways. And then you kept that clone of it the entire time just to see if it was going to be a winner. So for me, it's the newest thing for me is the NeoSpectra machine.
Yeah, it definitely saves time. It would take forever to do DNA extraction from all those seeds, to be honest.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and by no means is this a perfect machine, I wouldn't say, but it's it's close enough to at least get the losers out of the way and get the mediums out of the way and give me a group that I can really work with and not have to spend so much time, effort, money, square meter to try and make that happen. So it's been good. How about for you? Tell me about your guys' process for that, for plants.
Well, thank you for asking. We are currently working on DNA extraction on some of the most difficult plants to work with, such as grape vine and sweet cherry. Now, what we are doing is that we are comparing the results that we get from commercially available kits, such as 𝐓𝐤𝐬𝐿 kit or 𝐁𝐢𝐨𝐬𝐢𝐜 kit, for example. And we are doing simultaneously DNA extractions with 𝐓𝐤𝐬𝐿 and 𝐁𝐢𝐨𝐬𝐿 plus our Y buffer enhancer. And I'm pleased to tell you that the results are so far looking very, very promising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes, I definitely will have to pick your brain a little bit more of that. And if you ever decide to work on that with some hemp plants, of course, you're more than welcome to come out to Thailand. I've got plenty.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the offer.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Mr. Jordan and Mr. Andrija. I guess this webinar is making some business deals right here, right?
I love it.
So yes, I would like to move on to Mr. Ingmar. He has been waiting since a long, and thank you for showing so much patience. So yes, Mr. Ingmar, my last question would be to you as, so what do you foresee as the next big trends or breakthroughs in biotechnology, genomics for crop improvement, and how might these developments shape the future of agriculture and food security?
Yes, thank you for the introduction. If we first have a view back on history, enzymes has been used for a long time and was discovered in 1833. And fermentation has been used for 10,000 years. And even if most people are using fermentation products in their everyday life, it is not obvious what fantastic tools enzymes and fermentations are in solving some of our largest challenges in better utilizations of our resources. And I think we must rediscover the opportunities in fermentation and enzyme technology. For example, we are losing a large part of the crops farmers producing already in the first part of the food chain. And why is that? It's because there is no preservation, and crops tend to be ready for harvest in a brief time, and a large part of the harvest is lost before reaching the market. And this problem will be bigger due to more challenging climate situations with higher temperatures and more humidity. And fermentation of vegetables and fruit is an old and well-known technique, but now idealistic people mostly use it. This is also known to be healthy, and by using this technique in a big scale, we can reduce food waste and produce more healthy food. So this is also according to Mr. Raman's support to the farmers to improve, reduce losses and improve their economic benefits. So you may say that this is not a breakthrough as it is well-known technology, but we can use it in a new way and scale it, and then it's innovation. And it's one of the solutions to food security, as we can save food and reduce the risk of microbial contamination by using fermentation. Within the field of waste management that I am occupied with, there is a great opportunity in enzyme treatment of waste to utilize the already produced nutrient. Fermentation is a very efficient biological process, and producing microbes and microalgae as high-value protein and healthy omega-3 as feed will be a game changer in food production. The most important source of omega-3 is fish oil, and this production cannot increase as fish stocks are overfished. And there is a production of microalgae based on sugar as carbon source. Now we can produce algae based on sugar in food waste as carbon source. At the same time, we can reduce greenhouse gas emission and increase global food production because we are using wasting the food waste in a bad way, and this will cause a lot of CO2 emission. A combination of enzymes and fermentation will be a valuable tool in solving some of the challenges we are facing, and we may reduce food waste in all parts of the food chain, from farmer to household. Many people are concerned for the future and the challenges of climate change, but human beings working together have a fantastic power. Investors and innovators as a team can solve these challenges together. So this is my contribution for the discussion. I think it's good to support the farmers as Raman is occupied with, and the whole food chain can be improved with this combination, and they need support, and this is something we can really improve the whole value chain in different ways of doing it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ingmar. Anyone would like to add something or would like to ask Mr. Ingmar? Please.
Yeah, I'm always the one asking the questions, yes. Mr. Ingmar, one question. Is that you believe that we can basically ferment every crop there is?
Yeah, in principle, yes. For example, the farmers, we start on the farm level. The farmers, the problem they have is that everything is mature at the same time. They are harvesting and they cannot reach the market before it's destroyed, the fruit, the vegetables, because of hot temperatures and humidity. So they are losing a lot on the way. So there is no problem in if you can take the parts that you cannot sell in a very short time. You can do fermentation and you can do preservation with parts of it, so you can store it and keep it until it's the customer need it. So that is something we can do to reduce the losses in every part of the food chain. But the farmers have a big challenge with preservation. So this can at least reduce the problem.
From a medical perspective, fermented foods are very, very healthy, such as kimchi yogurt, kefir yogurt.
Yeah.
And here in Serbia, we also like to ferment food greatly. Like we ferment lots of fruits and we make rakia.
Yeah, rakia also. Yeah. But that's the point. This is an old traditional and known technique. But we have, in a way, lost it as a big important element in the preservation because of modern lifestyle and so on. It's mostly idealists that use this technique, and it could be used in an earlier stage of the food chain, so we could reduce the losses. We have losses at every part of the food chain, and 1/3 is lost, and that's crazy. It's just like putting the farmers' land in fire, and we incinerate 1/3 of the farmers' land, and that's not a good solution. So we have to do something with this in all levels of the food chain.
Thank you for the answer, and I'd very much like to hear about your preserving techniques of wheat, for example, or corn. That would be of great importance to farmers over here.
Yeah. It is say that, for example, for the grain, one of the big challenges is the humidity, as you have a lot of mold, and that is an underestimated problem in the food. Generally speaking, the mold and the problems with the toxins produced by mold, and that this is really and this is getting even a bigger problem due to the humidity, increasing humidity. So this is a future problem we are underestimating.
Yeah, my grandma had to throw away 2 tons of wheat this year. So
yeah, you see.
Yes.
And this is, of course, you may need, just for the grain, you may need other types of infrastructure, for example, good drying capacity to reduce this. And that kind of stuff. But for vegetables and fruit, it's well known to do fermentation, for example, with the lactic acid bacteria, which is excellent in many ways. For grain, it's a bit different, but still a very important thing to solve.
Thank you. Thank you kindly for your answer, Mr. Ingmar.
Thank you.
Hi, if I may come in, Ingmar, it's great to listen to what you were sharing with us. Just wanted to understand, because I'm not very familiar with the fermentation process. Just wanted to understand at what scale is it at an individual farmer level that he can do, or is it at a larger collective level that this can be done? And also, at what stage of harvesting? Let's say if we're talking of horticulture, you have various vegetables, fruits, etc. So once they're ripe for the market, would that be the stage, or would a stage before that be right for using this process? And
I think, sorry, yeah. I think the farmer level, I think they have a challenge with everything is rape in the same time, and then it's fermentation can be used in small scale, relatively small scale. You do it in a kitchen, so technically you can do it on a farm level, and that's where the problem comes up. Okay, you have the fruit and vegetables that cannot be sold, and they don't have freezing or chilling facilities, for example, in a farm level. That's very expensive. That's more large investments. But the simple fermentation can be done with much smaller investment cost. So it's absolutely possible to do it for fruit and vegetable in a small scale.
And how important do you think are consumer habits? Because the trends towards packed and processed foods is increasing everywhere. And I think while it's easier to do the process, wherever, selling and marketing becomes a big challenge, because at the end of the day, if it's for own consumption, it's different. So you are not wasting it and you're consuming it, within your household or within your own society. But if you're looking at a commercial activity, how difficult is consumer adoption of fermented foods, and how important is it that the companies who are larger companies in the food market group globally to really promote and push this sort of preserved foods?
Of course, that's the promotion is important, as most people are not used to it, but it's for idealist people, but it's more and more people are more and more aware that this is a good and healthy thing. People that are idealistic, they take it on the kitchen and do it. They don't have to do it because it's already it can be edible and so on, but they do it because it is some health benefits with it, and they believe in this, and it has proven to be good. Of course, how to organize it in a farm or a cooperative, that is of course something to discuss, but technically you can do it in a farm level, but it can be more efficient to do it in a cooperative level. That means farmers stick together and do this. That can be a more practical logistic and so on. That's of course a way of organizing that is make it better, but the process as such is well known. For example, lactic acid, as mentioned, they are naturally occurring in the nature. So, and we use it in, as we say, in yogurt, etc. The same principle. So it could be easy to adapt this, and as people are more aware of the health benefits, it will also be very useful to promote it. But of course, the market forces are strong, so we need someone to really support us in this. That's always the situation.
Right. Correct. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question. What's the storing temperature and humidity that would be the target for a farmer if they were going to be storing the fermented goods?
For the fermented, you can do it at the room or high temperature. So because
more high temperature.
Well, because the challenge is to lower the pH, so you will have no bacterial contamination. The lactic acid, they can live in lower pH. They are producing lactic acid, as they say, and that is acting as a preservation. So only lactic acid bacteria will survive in it. And I have experience from the salmon industry, long experience from that. And what we solved when to store it, or to more correct, to preserve it, we used acid to reduce the pH, and then we could store it for a long time at normal temperatures. We could store it in big quantities, so you reduced the challenge of transportation and logistic, and it was a very successful solution. In this case, we used formic acid and so on, but technically we could use acetic other acids as well. But the point is to reduce the pH, so you will have no bacterial contamination. That's quite a common thing, and this is what we do also with fermentation of food in principle. But that is successful. We are using in Norway, we are utilizing all the side streams from the salmon processing plants, and also the fishing, most of it for the fishing as well, in the same principle.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Nice meeting everyone. I look forward to seeing all of you in the back.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.